So my presentation is going to be on Southeast Asia and a look at the politics and the culture. Politics in Southeast Asia. Monarch has been predominant in Southeast Asia, and 5 countries have been able to thrive with it. They are Thailand, Brunei, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Indonesia. I lived in Thailand, and I found this a little shocking at first, to actually have a king in part running the country. We had to do things like honor the king before a movie at the theaters. Also, you could not defame the king's image, since his image was on all the money. You could go to jail for just kicking a dollar bill or a baht. More on politics. In these countries that have a monarchy, there is always a struggle between the king and the military. In Thailand, for example, the king was very beloved, but at certain points the military has taken more power. Indonesia uniquely has different interpretations of monarchy that do well in the Republican sphere at a regional level. And as well, China has been in conflict with Southeast Asian nations such as Indonesia. In Thailand, for example, there has been political conflict between the red shirts and the yellow shirts. The yellow shirts are the middle class that wants to throw out the current government. Culture of Southeast Asia. Buddhism is a popular religion in Southeast Asia. It teaches that peace and harmony is the most important thing. There's actually a word for it in Thai. I can't quite remember exactly what it is, but it just basically means that everything should be in harmony and you should be a part of that, and if you don't, then basically makes you look really bad and lose respect of other people in the community. So when I was in Thailand, saving face was extremely important, and people were non-confrontational. If you had a problem with someone at work, for example, you would tell another person and they would go to the person you had a problem with. So this can be both good and bad in comparison to our Western idea of basically being confrontational, maybe not in an aggressive way necessarily, but to go to someone when you have a problem with them. Um, Obviously, they do it very differently, and there can be good and bad that goes with that. One example I could give would be about street fights. Actually, in Thailand, it's very rare to see people in a bar fight or get into a real fight in the street, just because they'll try to avoid it at all costs most of the time. So that can be good, but the problem is if a fight does happen, it can often get out of hand and people could get hurt or even killed. Whereas in comparison in America, you see bar fights all the time. People think it's okay to just get into fights and someone will maybe get knocked out and that'll be the end of it. But in Thailand, they might not stop after you get knocked out. So different different strategies, I guess, different ways of looking at things. So more on culture. Also in Buddhism and Thai culture, people greet one another with their hands together like they are praying and bow, and it's called a wai if you wai someone. And this is very formal and expected from non-foreigners. Thai people will understand if you don't address them in this way, but for them that's the way to go. And diet is also important in Southeast Asia. Diet consists of mostly vegetables with small portions of meat and often lean meat as well. And the diet is very healthy. I lost almost 20 pounds when I didn't have much to lose and I never had to exercise. This was over a long period of time, but yeah, I felt like I was an average weight for most Americans, but I got very skinny because I didn't lift weights or eat unhealthily. And also walking around with the transportation, you know, most people don't drive around there unless it's on a motorbike. So, and even more on culture, there are also influences from China, Muslims, Indians, and others. In Thailand, there was a very heavy Chinese population, mostly located in Bangkok, where I lived most of the time. There is a social thing where Chinese people are born in Thailand, so they identify as Thai even though they look Chinese, which can cause some conflict. They may be the only kid in their class, for example, that looks Chinese. I mean, in a sense, they are heritage-wise, but they're still Thai. So an example, I remember one girl I had dated had a shirt that said, "I don't speak Chinese," because Chinese people would see her and come up to her and start talking to her in Chinese, because they thought maybe she could help them out, I guess. And another time, a girl I worked with, I asked her where she was from, and she got offended and said "here," assuming I didn't think she was Thai. So I was just wondering if she was from Bangkok, but she thought that I didn't think she was Thai. So that's the end. Thank you for watching my presentation.